Already recording. All right. It is approximately 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Layla is in. All right. I haven't seen Layla in a while. I'm saying my internet connection is a little unstable. Somebody just came in. I believe this is you, Layla. And I see your light. Okay. I see your light back there. We're going to go live here. I hope you can hear me. And yeah, my mic is now working. All right. So today is the 25th of May. It's Thursday. It's 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is also 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey live with the Circle of Grace 1, our Zoom session that we're doing every week. And I hope that more people will be able to join at a later date. Now, as more people come in, you can always just hear me, you can see me, and then you could place yourself where I don't have to actually see you. So, or you can be seen if you'd like. I know the screen can hold up to about 9 people at least coming in at one time. So we're going to get started with today's 40-minute numerology. People often ask me a lot of questions about numbers, their names, and we're just going to work right now with personal year number vibrations. So before we get started, through divine power and by divine grace, may all who have an opportunity to listen to today's program live may be blessed by the seeds of grace that you receive in it. May it widen your own spiritual stance. May it allow you to blossom and grow with an overflowing amount of grace, divine grace in your own life. And so shall it be, and so it is. So what is numerology? Numerology is the study of numbers and their hidden influences in your life. And so many of us often have lately, for the past 4 or 5 years, have been noticing that you'll see with the 4 digits or 3 digits of being the same number on a clock or a vehicle that passes by you. Might give phone numbers, have similar numbers. You could have a business address or a house address has similar numbers that seem to follow you around. And it's more or less that there's a pattern that these numbers are suggesting. It could be a pattern of behavior. It could be a pattern of describing events of how you might feel or what you can expect that's coming up in your life. Now, the most important thing people should understand, whether you're studying the Mantic arts, which involves the field of numerology, astrology, palmistry, astronumerology, which is the combining of the two together, tarot cards, handwriting analysis, tea leaf, coffee ground readings, reading with bones, sticks, cowrie shells, no matter what, you're not really controlled by the tools. The tools are just really extensions and symbolic connections to the soul essence of yourself so that you could properly and eventually properly divine a situation for yourself. So when we say divine a situation, we mean actually pull out the meaning behind what's going on in your life and what the symbology that the cards or the other tools might be suggesting to you. Okay, so that you get this firmer understanding. Now, a lot of people see double digits. They'll see like the double digits are birth sign, destiny sign, also within a clockwork address. Like some people see 111 or 444, or they go someplace on a regular clock and they might see 4444 or 1111. And so what you just need to realize is that it's just the universe reflecting back to yourself from the inside to yourself, and it's telling you to pay attention to what those vibrations are suggestive of. So if you see a lot of ones like that, ones have to do with individual expression, self-discovery, cleansing of one's personal ego, getting it in alignment with the higher self, and also suggestive of an opportunity to kind of shine in the spotlight. The same goes for if you see a lot of nines. Ones and nines can bring you into the spotlight, okay? If you saw a lot of eights would suggest that you might be handling money or people in positions of power and authority, or you yourself might graduate into that. Also, 8 is representative of overcoming some form of restrictions or limited. 8 suggests a little difficulty with financial situations, trades and investments, real estate, property, business ideas, things of that nature. But also is suggestive of the fact that you have the opportunity to create something for yourself, but it takes a 1.5 year to 2 year cycle, or 1 to 2 months, before you see the thing that you're working on begin to take root in your life. If you saw a lot of twos would suggest that you're going to be working on partnerships, whether it's romantic partnerships, marital partnerships, friend with that. If you see a lot of threes, and what I'm talking about, if you see like triple threes or 33, or you just see the 33 itself, the 3 is telling you to get more creative in your life and become more articulate. Maybe trust that you're an excellent writer and you're an excellent speaker. And it's also telling you to be very conscientious. If you saw a lot of fours would suggest that sometimes you need to pay attention to how to organize your life more and how to get rid of chaos out of your life. Or sometimes you might be in chaotic due to that particular experience that you had. Then if you saw a lot of fives would mean things run a little smoother. 5 suggests that you're in the middle of a lot of activity, and the 5 suggests that you're capable of adapting to whatever the changes are that occur. So you're able to make adjustments accordingly. If you saw a lot of sixes would suggest for you to be in service, to show more unconditional love. Maybe you might be a surrogate parent or a surrogate partner to somebody, but it's suggestive of that you have this opportunity to help people be nurtured and so that they could grow. If you saw a lot of 7s popping up, then the 7 suggests that you're going within, like a number 1 vibration, or like a 2 a little bit, but you're going within yourself and you're seeking to have a spiritual reawakening. So usually if you find yourself off to yourself a lot, and there's a lot of the 7s are saying don't fall into a state of depression or moodiness, don't get too quiet, but it suggests that you need to take something that you normally do, that you love, and try to perfect it. So let's say if you like playing a piano, then you saw the 7 vibration up around you all the time, it would suggest that maybe you should master some of the basic skills of being a pianist. You should know something about the instrument. Maybe you know something about the instrument, you've had it in your life forever. Maybe you're going to create something new, skilled, more of a perfectionist. And again, not to become too much of a loner. You want to feel like being a hermit with the 7 vibration around you, but it's suggesting for you to perfect something, usually a natural talent or gift, turn it into a skill, and then you could use it to help yourself or other people or prosper by it. So these are different things that you can see, whether they're double digits. Now those double digits, 2 of the same number, they're called master numbers. And so now people attribute a lot. They say, I got master numbers. What it actually means is you got more hurdles to overcome than everybody else, because you got 2 numbers there that are the same. And so you might look at it as 1 number on the mental plane, 1 number on the emotional plane. Or 1 number is on the emotional plane and the other number is on the physical plane. Or to 2 extremes, that number that you see on the spirit plane is reflected into the physical plane. So it means they actually have more work than most people. It suggests that you'd be more sensitive to the people and the environment that you're in when you have a master number. But also a master number shows that sometimes you might fluctuate back and forth. You might change your mind a little bit. So these are some of the things that happen when you are experiencing mass quadruple numbers around you, or you see more than that. Usually you see quadruple numbers, so each number in its column is telling you something. The number to the far left is the spirit number, and the number to the far right is the earthbound number, and the 2 in between, the 1 to the left of the colon, immediate left, that's the mental, and the 1 on the other side of it is the emotional. So if you see 1111, that's telling you to watch what you think, watch what you say, how you approach people. Don't be too much in your head. Be analytical, but be aware of the different planes of awareness that you have to work with. Okay, so these are just some tidbits that I want you to be aware of. And there are all kinds of books on numerology. I've put together a PDF with like 27 books, $27 called The Key to Life is Numerology, and expresses all of the master numbers, double-digit numbers. Talks about the birth date, calendar date from the 1st to the 31st and what that means. It talks about the destiny number, or what people call life path number. When you add up the digits in a vertical line, birth month, birthday, and birth year. Now, some things too, if you're into numerology and you want to study it more, be aware that you shouldn't cut down on the year. This is something that a lot of people have been doing since I'll call it the ascension craze. And it's not really a craze, of course, we're all going through the ascension process. But one of the things is you don't want to cut out the constant number of a 4-digit year. Okay, so if you're looking at, let's say, when a grandchild was born, and let's say the grandchild was born in 2006, okay, 2006, most people 06, and add that to the 2-digit or single-digit birthday number that the baby's born on, and then the single or double-digit of the month. Well, actually, you're shortchanging yourself. So that 2006, that 20 sitting there represents a period of transformation. So any children born right now from the year 2000 going all the way up to when we get to 2099 or have that ability to transform experiences, people that they come in touch with, and their life changes. It's always evolving, but it's evolving on like a higher plateau. It's the same thing if you meet up with somebody born 1933. The 19 says that they have a very strong will and they're very independent thinkers, and they usually have the ability to shine. Okay, but if you drop that 19 master number that's sitting there, but that's just one element. The master number within that birth year of 1933 or 1922, 1911, all the way up to 1999 just means that they're going to go through changes every 2 to 3 years in their life. So you have to pay attention to that. Okay, you have to be consciously aware of that, which you see that's going on. So you're always going to need the constant number, which takes the master number and elevates it by 1 digit. Okay, and that describes it on a completely different level. So these are some of the things you have to be aware of. So what I wanted to do today is kind of walk you through discovering your personal year number. Now, your personal year number, more than once or twice or so, it's a lot stronger, or I wouldn't say a lot stronger, but it's more definitive of what your unit of vibration. But that changes according to whatever the birth month and the birthday number is. So for an example, if you were born, let's say in 1974, all right, all you have to do is you can add those digits all the way across. An easier way to add those 4 digits is to split them in 2 columns. The 19, which is the constant number, then you have the 74. So the 1 and 9 is 10. You still have a vertical line coming down. The 7 and 4 is an 11. So there's like a hidden master number in there. But then you take the 10 and add that to the 11. And that would give you a 21. That's the compound number. But then you add that together. 2 plus 1 gives you a 3. So that person's birth year, 1974, produces a 3. Now, there's a lot of people that are born within that, okay? You're going to have lots of people all over the world born 1974. Let me get a little water. Now, you're going to have a lot of people born in that, okay? So what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to just recognize that. That's a universal year number. Now, what changes it is since the 1974 adds to a 3, you still have to know the person's birth month number, and you have to know the numerical day that they're born on, the calendar day number. So when you add it up, it's just like in a simple math. You put the 3 at the top, and let's say, or I'll say the person is born, instead of using the 3 in 1974, 3rd month, let's say they're born in the 6th month, and then they're born on the 4th. No, that month of June has 30 days. So here is right there on the 14th. They're almost halfway through, all right? So now you take the 6, and just like in regular simple addition, you place the 6 over the 4, and you add 6 to the 4 gives you 10, all right? And then you carry the 1 over, and 1 plus 1 is 2, so you'll have a 20 there. And then if you reduce the 20, by adding it, 2 plus 0 is 2. Now, we already know that 1974 gave us a 21, which is a 3. So 2 and 3 is 5. So that shows us right there that their life path or destiny number is a 5. But we're trying to find out what is their personal year number. So all you need to be concerned with, basically, first, is the birth month, the month they're born in, and the numerical day that they're born upon. Those are the 2 most important components. So we're now going to look at this person's birth year excuse me, their personal year number. So now we're in the month of May, so they don't have a new personal year number yet. So it's reflective of last year. So last year, the person's birthday was June 14th. We know those two numbers produce a 20, which is a 2. So they are still in last year's numbers, not the 2. We take the year 2016. So you take the 2016, 2 plus 0 is 2. The 16, 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 and 7 is 9. So last year, 2016 is a 9, but you got to add the 6 and the 14, and that's going to tell you what the personal year number was that began on their birthday last year. So the 6 and the 14 is 20, which is a 2. You add that to the 9, and you're going to get an 11, which happens to be a master number, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So from last year, birthday, June 14th, 2016, all the way up to June 13th, 2017, that person is in a 2 personal year backed by an 11 vibration. So that 11 vibration, by the way, is a master number, and it's a number that's suggestive for them to be quite sensitive to the dreams that they have, to pay attention to things that seem to be hidden in the background, or what we might call a covert activity if you were a detective. Okay, so you're going to look at things that are hidden from talks about dreams, and that they need to pay attention to their dreams. Okay, and then is the number 2. The number 2, the single digit, 2 personal year that they're in right now, all the way up until the 13th of June on 2017. They're still in the 2 personal year. They're in it right now in the month of May. It's going to tell us that they need to try to create some balance and some harmony in their life by paying attention to details. So the 2 is good for that. The 2 denotes that if you pay attention to details going on in your life, the little things, you find that the little things build up into something that's much, much larger. So 2 vibration has to do with contracts and arrangements, agreements, business deals. It may suggest that maybe you're dealing with a lot of heavyweight people who are pretty good at what they do, so you have to be more diplomatic in matters of business, whether it's investment property or stocks and bonds and things of that nature, or you might be dealing with some legal situations. The 2 suggests that you come across in a nurturing vibration. The 2 is sort of like symbolic of the moon. The moon is hidden qualities, but it's a mothering vibration. So you kind of have to bring that to the table in business dealings. Okay, so if you're trying to negotiate a contract or you want to be promoted, you have to come across in a caring nature, and you would have to prove how your qualities improve a group. So you have to have that motherly instinct naturally, and then if you could employ that business deal or a new partnership arrangement or something like that. And again, you have the 11 sitting behind it, the master number 11. So that 11 is telling you to pay attention now to what's going on behind the scenes or what's not being said to you at the same time. So, you have to kind of think that way too. Maybe you're dealing with some high level business partners. So you always pay attention to what they're talking about all the time, but also to what they're not telling you. And therefore you ask your questions in that manner. So let's say you're in investments and you're an investment firm and they're talking about giving you a promotion. They might tell you, oh, you're going to handle the big packages, but are they going to be the big packages where the deals are easier or the deals are more difficult? So if they're not telling you anything about that, that's how you gear your questions, you see. Also under that 2, that's a lunar vibration. So you would want to more than likely pay attention to your gut feeling, your own intuitive nature, your own psychic nature at the same time. So you have to kind of read into the situation and just read into what you're not being told, okay, whether it's in written format or it's in verbal format. So that's just like an example. So what I want you to do, everybody, is just lay out your birth month on a piece of paper and write actually in a vertical calendar day that you're born on, and don't write your birth year, but put the current year. All right, and then I want you to leave enough room on the paper and draw a vertical line. Now, reason for that is if your birthday hasn't appeared yet, then you'll have to write it on that other side. Okay, so we can kind of see what your time frame is that you're coming out of as to where you're going. Okay, so everybody out there that's watching and people that will see this later, write your birth month number on the top, just like a natural addition. Put your birthday number underneath your month. So if you're born on a compound or double digit, everything should follow the units column. So your birth year has a units column. That's the number all the way to the right. Okay, that's the units column of your birth year. And then the next is the tens column. The next is considered the hundreds column. And the next is the thousands column. Okay, so you put everything so it's stacked on top of each other. Then what you want to do is add the units column first. And if number is greater than 9, you want to carry the digit over. So let's say if it so happens that, let's use another birth date as an example. Let's say your birthday was the 7th month, the 3rd day, and you're born 1989. So that means you would have to put the numbers in, and then you add them up. When you add them up, you're going to naturally put a number in the units column, and the other number you carry over. And then just add it straight on through, but I want you to use this year. So at some point, everybody is going to have, when they add them up, you're going to have 4 digits going across, and then you take those 4 digits and you have to add them across. Now, again, you could add them straight across if you want, or you could split the year. So you have 2 numbers to the right, and 2 numbers to the left. And then add those individually, and then the single digits that you get, or you might get a double digit, right? You add them again until you bring it all down to 1 digit. And that will give you whatever your personal year number is. Now, since we're in May, anything prior to this date, you won't have to kick it back but so far, you see. Anything after this date, you will have to realize that you're doing 2 things at the same time. So let me make that clear. If your birthday is today, you'll see a change. If it's any date before this, you're going to see, the change will be there for you. But if, let's say, today's date is the 25th and your birthday's tomorrow, well, the number that you get for your personal year won't kick in until tomorrow. So that's what I want you to understand. So you will have whatever your date is. And the whole idea right now is to reduce everything to a single digit unless you find a number 11, 22, 33, 44, double digits. Leave the double digits there. Put a single forward slash after the double digits, and then add the double digits to whatever the number comes up to be. So if it was like 99, it would be 18/9. If it was 88 that it came out to, it would be 88/16/7. So you see it'll carry itself out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some basic meanings for your number. Now, realize that this is called your personal year number. And your personal year number is in effect from the birth month and birthday that you have carrying over into next year until the day before your birthday. That's how it basically works. Now, let's say you had a birthday that was April the 6th. Well, you're already in what that cycle will compute out to be in this year 2017. And now remember, 2017, if you want to keep it simple in your mind, 2017 actually reduces to the number 1. So if you were born, let's say February the 8th, 2 plus 8 is 10, and 10, 1 is an 11. There's your master number, /2. So you would be in a personal year number from your birthday if it was February the 8th of 2017, rolling around to the following year, the day before. So that's how you will do it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through the numbers from 1 to 9. I'll try to go as slow as possible. Usually I have notes out in front of me, so I'm doing this without notes, but I'm going to walk you through it. If your personal year number, add it to a 1. Now that's provided that, let's say it's a 1 already before today's date, or on today's date, it's a 1. But if it's tomorrow, if it comes after, it's going to be whatever last year's number was first going into the 1, okay? So if you happen to see a 1 personal year, we'll keep it simple. Maybe you're in the 9, but you didn't get to the 1 yet, so just circle the 9. But this is what's going to happen when you enter a 1 personal year. What you want to pay attention to is anything that deals with self-improvement. Anything that deals with self-improvement is what the number 1 is all about. So you might have some particular weaknesses that you want to work on, or you might find yourself maybe drawn to mathematical computations or dealing with scientific things, or you might want to become a little bit more orderly in your life, or you might realize, hey, you're always helping everybody else, but you never get a chance to help yourself. The one personal year is improve upon yourself. So that means put all your energy into helping yourself get better. The one personal year is really about looking after you, thinking about yourself first. Now, the number one is also connected to the sun, which the ruler is Leo. It has a partnership with the moon, which is the number 2 that rules Cancer. It also has a partnership with the number 4 that represents Uranus that rules Aquarius, and the number 7 that's Neptune that's connected to Pisces. Excuse me. So you have these other attributes to kind of pull on. So if you're having that number 1 as a personal year number, you could borrow a little bit from Cancer, okay? Or the number 2, which means be aware of the partnerships that you create in your life. If you have the number 4 with you also there, you want to pay attention to the necessity sometimes to be different than the norm, be different than others. And the mysterious things or the scientific things, or going more into the spiritual plateau of ideas. So you have those other attributes to bring in while you're going through the one personal year. The same happens if you are in a 2 personal year. If you find that all the numbers add up to a 2, then the 2 means it's all about partnerships. It's all about paying attention to details. It's also about realizing that you are your first and best partner. Then comes everybody else. It's also telling you to have a little more harmony in your life, create a little more balance, use some moderation in your life, but really pay attention to details. 2 is sort of like an ambassador. 1 is like you're the president, but you need an ambassador. You need someone to go out and represent you. So that's what the 2 is about. The 2 is a very nurturing quality. And it learns to pay attention to details. And it learns to be very diplomatic. What if the numbers added to a 3? Well, the 3 personal year is telling you to be a little bit more conscientious, pay attention to the principles that you live by. If you're in a partnership with other people, you want to pay attention to whatever their principles are too. That's very important for you. Now, the 3 quality is sort of like a Jupiterian quality. So if you're in a 3 personal year, it's all about expansion. And one of the areas that you expand into is the circle of friends. So you might look around you to see what kind of friends you have, and you want to expand upon that. You might want to make your friendship circle larger, or you might want to know the friends that are in that circle, in your immediate circle. You might want to know likes. Maybe they know something about you that they could share with you. 3 is being very creative at the same time. You might have a gift for writing. You might have a gift for speaking. So you want to expand into those areas. If you are, let's say, in a 3 personal year and you're a quieter person, so the 3 might be more suggestive of you employing your creativity to get yourself out of the quietness and step out more into the public. But under the 3, you get a chance to pick where and with whom. So the 3 is telling you to pick friends. Find your best friend and use them as an audience. If you're trying to bring out some creative skills, or compose music, write poetry, or maybe you like to write fictional work. So you might want to take your works and kind of test them. Let your friends read them and get some second or third opinions. If you find yourself having the numbers work out to the vibration of 4 as a 4 personal year, one of the things you want to do is pay attention to the energy that floats through your home. That's very important. So you want to make sure your home is very comfortable to you first, then to loved ones and friends, or other people if you're ready to entertain other people in your home. Another thing when you're going through a 4 personal year is there's a tendency to be aware of, usually under a 4, people should pay attention to plumbing in their homes, electrical outlets in their homes. Do they have the caps on them when they're not being used? In case you got animals or children around, like babies and so forth. Also, 4 can be a building stage. It can be a time of trying to be a little bit more organized. So if you find yourself having a 4 personal year, it also suggests for you to look at the things inside a home or an apartment, but also be willing to take your time. 4 means things move really slow, and 4 is the first of the trilogy of old soul numbers. So sometimes under a 4 personal year, you have yourself going back in time. So you might think about the things you didn't get a chance, or you might go through some situation where you didn't get along with somebody and that stuff is still in your mind. So 4 causes you to backtrack a little bit and look at the past. 4 can cause you to make a dramatic decision without really thinking about the consequences. So 4 means to kind of take your time. If you find that the numbers in this current year produce a 5, 5 is the number also like a 4. 4 is dramatic change. 5 is learning how to adapt to changes that are easier for you to do. So 5 is almost neutral. 5 is in the middle of the digits from 1 to 9. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. 5's in the middle, 6, 7, 8, 9, another 4 numbers. So 5 personal to your environment. Adjust and adapt. So what you do with the 5 is 5 means think of your surroundings and think of how you want to expand your surroundings or expand your connections or expand the way you communicate with people, as well as the people communicating with you. How do you want them to communicate with you? Some people are excellent writers. Some people are excellent speakers. Some people have no emotions involved. Okay, and then some people are very emotional. So when you're in the 5 personal year, I suggest that you kind of tell people, if you have somebody around you who's very emotional, very dramatic with emotions, when you're dealing with them, you should be on the mental side. That creates the balance. If they're being too mental, which we call airy, too mental, then you want to be more grounded. So you want to be emotionally sensitive, but more practical when you're exchanging ideas and thought patterns in that 5 personal year. 5 is also, like the 3, deals with nervous energy, and 3s and 5 vibrations, when you're in them, suggest that you want to do things quickly. Well, during the 5 is, you, like the 3, you want to taste the different situations. The 5 says, I want to run in and out of the water a little bit, and I want to taste the air a little bit, and I want to see what the fire is like, and I want to see what the earth element is like. But all at the same time, you got to use moderation and balance. So if you find yourself with your numbers adding to a 5 personal year, let's say, and your birthday doesn't come up until, next year earlier, then that 5 is telling you to make the necessary adjustments. That 5 energy is going to keep you out in the open, so all eyes are going to be upon you when you open the door and enter a 6 personal year. When you have the 6 personal year, the 6 is sort of like the 5. And what is very unique about the 6 personal year is this. It's like the 5, you're out in the open, everybody can see you. So it's sort of like you come outside your house and you got your clean. You can see my eyes, you can see how I look, my appearance. But the 6, like the 2, if you like a 2 personal, I didn't mention it then, but I'll mention it now. 6 is similar to a 2, that the 6 personal year causes you to be more parental, more protective, more of a nurturer. So 6 are teachers, and they know how to teach love to their environment. So if you're in a 6 personal year, it's suggested that you show a lot of love. The kind of love is unconditional love that you need to project. Or if you work toward divine love really raises the vibration, raises the bar. So you're causing people to be more ethical and moralistic around you. And you're a keeper of the law, so to speak, the law of love, unconditional love, the law of balance, the law of reciprocity, the law of justice. The 6 understands the law of things. Okay, so 6 is like, to back it into astrology, 6 is Venus. So 6 loves luxuries, finery of material. They love to be refined. 6 Venus also is a justice kind of vibration. So it enjoys being in a just environment. They like everything to be balanced. And not only a just environment, but they can adjust the environment. They can add on to the balance, you see, and create it for their mind. That MENT is the mental state of adjusting something to bring yourself into balance. If your numbers produced a 7, if you had a 7 as a personal year number, whether you're about to go into it or you're already in it now up to today or before today, but if you're in the 7 is the opportunity to go within. Now, this is essential. The 2 vibration suggests that you can go in, but you have to come back out to play. In the 7, you get to stay inward. So it's a 7 personal year is a good time to go within, not disconnect completely from people, but not always be, let's say, don't let yourself be caught up in emails too much, on the phone a lot with people. Allow yourself to get out and about, maybe try something a little new, or go into an environment that you're accustomed to going there all the time so you can spend a little more time, be a little bit more laid back so you can relax. Now, the 7 also means for you to pay attention to your dreams. And usually during the 7 personal year, your dreams are more heightened. You might experience some out-of-body experiences. So you might notice that your spiritual nature gets enhanced or it gets questioned, not by an outside source, but by yourself. So you find yourself really going within when you're in the 7 personal year. You're kind of cleaning house. That's what's going on during this connected to yourself. You're just kind of reinventing yourself, reorganizing yourself, or finding out what you really like and what you don't like. What you don't like, you get rid of. What you've outgrown, you get rid of that as well. And you start becoming more of a perfectionist in the 7. And you develop more of critical thinking and critical analysis through feelings. So you pay attention to your intuition and empathic nature as well as your psychic nature. Well, let's say all the digits now added to an 8. Now, 8 is very unique. 7, like the 4, is an old soul number. So the third old soul number is an 8. The 4, 7, and 8 is the old soul trilogy. So if you're in a 4 personal year, a 7 personal year, and now if you're in an 8 personal year, back to back, 2 years in a row, you're going to experience some soul connections, some past life energy connection. Where the 7, you can kind of sit back and relax and kind of observe things going on around yourself. But when you're in the 8, you have to kind of step forward. Now, if you happen to have a magnanimous idea that pops into your head during this 8 personal year, you get a chance to start to research it out and find minor steps or smaller steps to try to initiate it. So let's say you have a business idea that comes to you. When you're in the 8 personal year, what it's suggesting is that you have at least 1.5 years to 2 years to make it start to happen. So during the first year, you're just on it. You're trying to see if it's really worth your time, if you can make money with it, or if it can catapult you into the right direction, into the right circles of people. Then you might take the 8 and say, okay, is this something that's traditional that I'm dealing with? This is a traditional business. So do I know any people who are veterans in that traditional concept of doing business? So 8 says you harvest your crowd. You kind of look into your Rolodex and you see who knows what, who are the experts in the certain parts of the field that can help you enhance or have a better understanding. Kind of take your time and kind of look at what wisdom you have acquired in these past 6, 7, or 8 years, and then see if you want to, explode it into something bigger. But it's suggesting, since it's an even number, that you really kind of take your time and not rush. So if you have an 8 personal year that you're walking into, all right, or that you're already in, is telling you to really take your time. Don't rush it, but really go into the details and see how you can make it bigger. Now, it's going to get big, but you're going to need at least a full year, 1.5 years, going to a full 2 years to see it get state. And you might be able to harvest early, but more than likely you will harvest later. Because all of these numbers have what we call a 9-month cycle and a 9-year cycle, or a 9-week cycle. So you have all these different, or 9 quarters. You have all these different times to try to factor it out and make it happen. The last is the 9 personal year. Now, this is very unique. The 9 is about beginnings and endings. So if you find yourself already in the 9, you're basically cleaning house. That's the best way to tell you. You're cleaning house. You're looking at what you're going to keep, or what are your victories and accomplishments. What are the best lessons that you learned? Those things you're going to keep. Anything during the 9 that's stagnated, you're going to get rid of it, or you're at least going to put it aside to look at it later. Or if maybe you're in certain partnerships not working out, you've got to table them or change them or get out of them. Okay, now if the relationship is going okay, but it's a little slow, so you're not kicking yourself out or the person out of the relationship, you're just going to give it more time to evolve. That's what you have to do during a 9 personal year. Think of 9 as like when babies get born. They're born in the 9th month. Prematures, or preemies as they call them, are born around the 5th, 6th, 7th, or sometime 8th, right? So what you want to do is, you're working on a project. You can either take 9 years to make it happen, or 90 days, or 9 weeks, okay, or 9 months. But you're going to give it time to build, right? And during its building stage, you're just like a farmer. Some things you have to pare down. Some things you have to keep looking at in personal year. It's a time of weeding, taking out what doesn't work, putting it aside. Or maybe you notice that it's like preemie. It's premature right now, so you can't get rid of the idea. You can't get rid of the project, but you have to kind of table it. All right. So if you're in a 9 personal year, sometimes you just table your projects. You don't get rid of them completely because you have an opportunity to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. So you might learn something else later. You might run into someone who's a powerhouse in that thing that you're working on that could show you different keys to unlock these doors to bring it out much better. So notice that the 9 personal year, though, is, I have a key phrase for that. 9 is this. The key phrase is look at all the possibilities. Then look at what's impossible to do. Use the energy of the impossibility to allow you to pick up all that is possible. What that means is now the key thing for you to do is when the fire is underneath the pot and the water begins to boil, you got to get ready to do what? Turn that water into vapor and float on it. So that means you got to take the best of the best that you have and bring it to the surface, and you got to what? Cultivate it in such a way, and then you got to put it into motion. That's like a quarterback who gets the ball hiked to them, and they've got what? Exactly 60 seconds to release the ball. They have to find an open receiver or someone to pass that ball off to, or they have to run and make the touchdown themselves. You have to think sort of like that. Okay, so 9 personal year means think on a broader spectrum. Don't be so limited in your thinking. Don't allow yourself to fall into the trip of being very bigger platform. There's a bigger audience all the time, and what you're striving to do is be at the top, but also take the best with you. So if you were like a great leader has a great team, but the great leader cultivates everybody else and allows them to see that they are also a leader in their position as well. Well, today, that is my take on the personal year numbers from 1 to 9. If you want more information, I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. You could always call me on my Skype number, which is 505-349-4722. That's 505-349-4722. You can always send me an email to iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com. I'll be back next week with another exciting program. Be sure to pass this along to people. I'm going to save this a little later, and I'm going to upload it to my YouTube channel within about 2 hours. And you'll be able to go to YouTube, just look for Circle of Grace 1 or my name, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, and you get a chance to watch this all over again. Soon I'll be coming out with my revised book, Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace, and I should have a firm copy in my hand no later than the 1st of August. And we're looking forward to having a personal, private party out here to open it up to in PDF format. Like the key to life is numerology, understanding your dreams. I'm in the process of the art of pendulums is being created and completed today, and you'll be able to purchase them for a price of $27 a piece, or if you just email me, I'll give you a great deal. Also, my website is circleofgrace1.byregion, BYREGION.net. Circle of Grace 1. Write it out like one word, but use the number 1 at the end after the letter E in Grace, and you can see my website. Until next time, Zanny Video at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific. And you can check me out there. Just look up The Age of Remembrance, subtitled Circle Grace 1 in The Age of Remembrance, and you can see, listen to a 30-minute show on Blog Talk Radio. See you next week. Thank you for enjoying me. As Akhenaten says, our grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Thank you so much. See you next week.